Greece's 48-hour paralysis is into its second day, and Athens is bracing for another show of force outside Parliament. Lawmakers there are preparing to give final approval to even more tough cuts in a desperate attempt to stave off bankruptcy. Wednesday's protests saw around 100,000 protesting and clashing with police. And RT's Sara Firth is on Athens streets for us. Hello there, Sara. So what's today's turnout like so far?
Well, you can probably see the crowds behind me here outside the Parliament building. A larger number, it seems, than yesterday at the same time. Again, like we saw yesterday, very calm initially. People standing out with their banners, having their chants. They're here ahead of the vote later today. We saw the initial approval of the further austerity cuts yesterday, and today that will be passed into the law if the vote goes through, and it is expected to go through despite the severe opposition we saw yesterday. The protests descend into very chaotic scenes later in the day. We saw tear gas and smoke filling the air as the clashes broke out between the police and the protesters. And certainly Eurozone leaders, it's thought, will be watching the situation extremely closely. This coming ahead, of course, of the EU summit at the weekend, which it's hoped they'll be able to deliver some kind of rescue plan. But of course, there's a lot of concern here amongst analysts who said that we've seen the Eurozone leaders attempt this before and fail. So ahead of that, certainly the scenes here are not going to be instilling any optimism in anyone at the moment.
Also, Eurozone leaders are to meet on Sunday, we know, to work out a solution. But is there any end in sight from your point of view, what you see on the streets?
Well, it's very difficult for the people here because, as we said, they've really lost the faith in their government, in the Eurozone leaders' ability to be able to find a way out of this, to find a solution. Certainly the solutions that have been come up with so far really haven't been tenable for the people here. I mean, we hear about all these austerity cuts. There's more being voted through in the Parliament today. What this actually means for the people on the street has been 2 years of job cuts, of tax hikes, high unemployment in the country. They've got a new generation of homeless people here. These are people who were in the middle classes, who lost their jobs, couldn't deal with the taxes, couldn't make their rent anymore. People who are well educated and, to all intents and purposes, ready to work, able to work, but there simply aren't the prospects here in the country. All around you here in Athens, and over the past few months, you can really notice the decline. You can see the economy faltering, the shops everywhere closing. People we speak to in business have said about the marked difference. Very profitable businesses before are now struggling, and this is something that affects everyone, and you can see this at the protest when we're down there on the street. It's a protest of all ages. You've got people who are in their school years, 16, 17, right up to pensioners. This has affected every single person here, and that's why you see these numbers turning out. What's been very different with this protest is that the sheer scale of it we saw yesterday, tens of thousands of people, the public anger really building at this. So calls from Athens, from the whole country really, for a different approach now for the Eurozone leaders to show that they're able to adapt, because otherwise we're going to see more of this. This is a vicious cycle of these protests happening and the austerity measures being put in place. And on the street, what people are saying is they've lost faith in their government. Why do they even have the vote if the government are ignoring them? And in the country, you're seeing not just a financial deficit, but they say they have a democratic deficit as well.
Sara Firth from Athens on these ongoing protests. Sara, many thanks for that update.